Good morning, students. This is Sujit sir, and I welcome all of you once again to my class. In the previous grammar classes, we have already learnt about the three tenses: the present tense, the past tense, and the future tense. In today's class, we shall discuss more about the present tense. We shall know how we should transform an affirmative sentence into negative and then to interrogative. Let us therefore move ahead. In order to construct a sentence in simple present tense, we use the first form of the verb after the subject. Here V1 refers to the first form of the verb. So how do we construct sentences in simple present tense? Let us have a look. In affirmative, it is I write. Here I is the subject, followed by the first form of the verb. Now we all know that the three forms of the verb write are write, wrote, written. Therefore, the first form is write, which will come immediately after the subject. And the subject is here first person singular number. In case of first person plural number, it is as same as the previous one, and it is we write. In case of second person either singular or plural, it will be you write. In case of third person plural number, which is they, it is they write. But in case of third person singular number, we notice a change. What kind of change, students? An extra s is being added to the verb, and it becomes writes and no more write. So students, as we all know, the pronouns like he, she or it are considered to be third person singular number. So whenever you construct a sentence keeping any of the third person singular number, we have to add s or es to the verb. So in case of first person singular and plural, in case of second person singular or plural, in case of third person plural, only the first form of the verb is used. But in case of third person singular number, that is either he or she or it or any of its equivalent noun, we add s or es to the verb. Now let us see how these sentences are transformed into negative. In case of negative, we use do not just before the first form of the verb, and do not is used in case of first person singular and plural, second person singular and plural, third person plural. But again in case of third person singular number, we no longer use do not. Rather, we use does not. So students, you can see here in the first four sentences, we have used do not, but in the final sentence, where the subject is third person singular number, it has become does not. So in case of affirmative sentences, as we add s or es to the first form of the verb, in case of negative, we use does not instead of do not. Let us now see how we make questions in simple present tense. In order to make a question, we use the auxiliary verb do or does. Does for third person singular number and do for the rest of the pronouns. Now the do verb is followed by the subject, and the subject is followed by the first form of the verb. Let us have a look at some of the examples. Look at the first sentence, students. Do I write? So we should begin a question with a do verb followed by the subject, and then comes the first form of the verb, exactly as we find here. In case of first person plural number, it is again do we write, then do you write, then do they write. But in case of third person singular number, once again like the previous one, it is no longer do, it becomes does. So wherever the subject is third person singular number, we cannot use do, rather we use does. And therefore the sentence has become, does he or she write? Now when we make negative questions, let us see what happens. It is as same as the affirmative, only not will be added to make a question in negative. Do I not write? Do we not write? Do you not write? Do they not write? But in case of third person singular, as you can see in the fifth question, it has once again become, does he or she not write? Now here you need to remember something very important. When you frame a negative question, not comes after a pronoun. There is a grammatical rule that not is used before a noun and after a pronoun. Now here all the subjects are pronouns. Therefore not has been used just after them. Let us now see how we construct sentences in present continuous tense. In case of present continuous tense, be verb is used after the subject. Now students, we have already discussed in our live classes that there are 5 be verbs. What are they? They are am, is, are in the present tense and was and were in the past tense. Now as we are dealing with present tense only, we have to use either am or is or are after the subject, and it will be followed by the ing form of the verb. Let us now have a look at some of the examples. In case of affirmative, it is I am writing. Now we all know that we always use the be verb am after the first person singular pronoun, which is I. Every time the be verb am is followed by I. Therefore the sentence is I am writing. And in every case, in case of present continuous tense, we use the ing form of the verb. The second sentence, we are writing. In case of second person singular or plural, it is you are writing. Then in case of third person plural, it is they are writing. And finally, in case of third person singular, it will be is. As we all know that we always use is after he or she or it. So in this way, we construct sentences in present continuous tense. Now how we should transform these sentences into negative? Let us have a look. It is only not which we are using after the be verbs, and the sentences become I am not writing, we are not writing, you are not writing, they are not writing, and in the fifth one, he or she is not writing. Let us now see how we should frame questions in present continuous tense. Now because it is a question, it should begin with an auxiliary verb. So we have to use either am or is or are followed by the subject and followed by the ing form of the verb. Let us look at some of the examples. Now these are as same as the previous ones, but because these are questions, the sentences should be started with auxiliary verbs. And here in this case, we have to use the be verbs. Look at the sentences, students. Am I writing? Are we writing? Are you writing? Are they writing? And in case of third person singular number, it is he or she writing? Because we all know that he or she is always followed by is. Now in case of negative questions, let us see how they are formed. Now these are also as same as the previous ones, but because these are negative questions, we must have to use not. So where are we using not? Look at the first question. Am I not writing? Then are we not writing? Then are you not writing? Then are they not writing? And in the fifth question, it is he or she not writing? Now students, as I have already told you earlier, if it is a pronoun, not comes after it, and if it is a noun, not will be used before it. And as we have constructed all the questions with pronouns, not has been used after each of the subjects. Now I hope all of you have understood these things very clearly, and I am also sure that you will never make any mistake while constructing sentences in simple present tense and in present continuous tense. In the next class, we shall discuss about present perfect tense and present perfect continuous tense. So, see you all in the next class. Thank you so much.